I often, especially when I'm talking to students, I often start and say, I don't have a degree. I've dropped out twice, and all the professors and parents at the back are like, stop talking.
Today we're here in Hong Kong speaking with female millennial entrepreneur Emma Reynolds.
I'm about to turn 31, and if I look back over the last decade, I have anything but a conventional story. And what I do now, and the business that I have now in Hong Kong, the work I do, the business that we're growing, I have no educational background in what I'm doing, and I didn't follow a traditional path, I guess. So I think that's important to start by saying I dropped out of university twice. And I think now, as I sit here and reflect, as I said, about to turn 31, and I look back over the last decade, and it's anything but conventional. So now, if we go back the decade I guess we start from dropping out of university. So when I was 17, I knew that I didn't want to go and study something for 4 years and then at the end of it not enjoy it or not know what I wanted to do. And I had really supportive parents, and I said, I just want to start working. And so I started working full time at 17 because I was younger when I graduated. So 17 now, I think I've got 14 years full time work experience as I sit here at 31. So
what did you do?
I was back when I was 17. I was working for the convention centre, so in events, and was really lucky to get. I think it was a receptionist job to start with, which obviously you're the face, you're the person that everyone sees when they walk in, and then I spent time in events, going through back of house and helping.
Wow.
And then so the first 5 years in Australia, before I left to move to the UK, was very much hands-on work experience. I worked in relatively small companies, so I got to experience so much and work with direct. That was my degree, I always say. And I guess that 5 years was spent in a combination of marketing, sales-ish kind of roles.
And everything else.
And everything that comes with it. And just jumping in and saying, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll try that job. I'll do that. But I went back to study because I guess when I was about 20, I thought, oh, I better get a degree. And I kept going back to this conventional. Everybody has a degree, feeling maybe a bit self-conscious that I didn't have one. So I started studying when I was 20 for a Marcoms degree, and dropped out after 6 months. And about a year later, went back for another 6 months and dropped out after that. And so 2-time dropout, and just didn't resonate with me. And I was already working full time and thought, I just want to keep going.
Did you ever finish your degree then?
No.
High five! High five! Because you don't need to follow any conventional path to be successful, and obviously you approve of it. So
I often, especially when I'm talking to students, I often start and say, I don't have a degree. I've dropped out twice, and all the professors and parents at the back are like, stop talking. So yeah, and I was really fortunate in Australia to have a couple of jobs, two in particular, for a couple of years each, with people that really shaped me and what I believe in and who I am, and to work closely with them, the directors at these two businesses, and working on marketing plans with the Australian government or communication plans with huge companies, analysing Qantas's business. And I was 21, working with 4 directors and travelling the country and getting this amazing experience. So that's where I guess I got the small business entrepreneurial kind of vibe, and I thought, this is awesome. And then I left, so I was 21 and wanted to go and travel. My dad's English, so half my family are in the UK, and I always wanted, I think as every Aussie or New Zealander wants to leave their home country and travel, become the Antipodean. And so I did, and I left with a backpack. I'll never forget that day. It was a really hard decision to quit my job, actually, because I loved it and I loved the people I worked with. But I thought, let's do it. And I left a backpack. Didn't know. I said, bye, Mum, and I don't know when I'm coming back. It could be years, but I'm heading off. And literally got on the plane with my backpack, broke up with my boyfriend, and was like, right, I'm off.
Oh my goodness.
and spent the better part of the next 6 months traveling all around the world. Spent 3 months in Peru living in a remote community, volunteering, which I loved, and then got up to the US to see family, and then landed in London in 2005. Winter, freezing cold, no money, broke. Mom, I've got no money, literally £10 or something. And then this moment was actually another transitional. So I kind of see my life my adult life anyway, in three chunks. The first 5 years in Australia was building my foundations, so not studying, working, spending time doing amazing projects as a 20, 21-year-old, 18, 19, 21, and then moved to the UK. And then the kind of next chapter begins, I guess. So here I am, 21, still no degree, obviously, and trying to get jobs in London, and people would, you don't have a degree. But I fell into a role, which again is a transitional point. So I started working. I wanted to do very much the same marketing, communications, but fell into this role with a headhunter and a big human capital conglomerate. Didn't even know how to spell HR. I was like, what am I doing? I'm in marketing, I'm in communications. But met my future business partner. So we were working together.
Wow.
And again, just got thrown into the deep end. I started in this very kind of admin role. I just needed money. I was so broke. I think it was paying £12 an hour or something. I was like, great, I'll do it. I was sleeping on my friend's sofa in London. And then the next year was where I really got the, I guess, courage to do my own thing. And we spent time traveling to Hong Kong. So that was quite serendipitous. But my
Where did that idea even come from? I mean, it sounded like previously had fun doing the jobs that you were doing as an employee. So the transition between employee to thinking about even doing your own thing, that's a huge step on its own.
Definitely. And I guess there were two transitions. The first one was everything I'd done up to that point was market facing, consumer facing, external facing. And I started working in this HR conglomerate. They had many businesses, and I started to think about, hang on, why are we treating, and I would look at the way they're engaging candidates and look at the way that they're engaging employees, and started to think, why don't we think like marketers when we engage our candidates or employees? Why don't we segment? Why don't we target? Why don't we understand them and what they want and position and all the rest of it? Because this is now almost 10 years ago.
Before LinkedIn, before Monster,
before everything. And it was literally just a one-way monologue, two-way spamming actually. So just throw jobs out and get a lot of crap back. And so that transition was, wow, I'm really passionate about this. I really want to treat candidates like customers, and I want to treat employees like customers. And so I started doing loads of work with Microsoft and Barclays and Royal & Sun with this company in the UK, just changing the conversation, going into with these people who are very much HR centric and saying, well, who are these people? What are the different personas? What do they want? How do we connect with them? How do we stop talking at them and start talking with them? And how do we start engaging, etc.? So that was transition one. And then I loved it. And I thought, right, I'm now going to dedicate my whole life now to this, kind of bring the principles of design thinking from the marketplace to the workplace. That became my, treat employees like customers, treat candidates like customers. So that was transition one. Then I loved it. And then for the next year was working with my colleague, and we were in Hong Kong, and we were just at the end of our road with this particular company, and we had managed a merger here in Hong Kong, and we were on the plane on the way home. What if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did this? What if we did this? And we had 12 hours, Hong Kong to London, literally got a notepad, wrote down ideas on the plane, kept everyone up around us, kind of, okay, and we could call it this and we could do this. And we literally touched down on the tarmac. He resigned the next day and I resigned the following day. And it was literally okay, yeah, let's do. And because it's service-based, I always caveat this when I talk to people, because it's service-based, it was easier, and I'll say that lightly, to get started, because we didn't have to invest in product development and manufacturing and have huge upfront costs. And so at the time I was 23, I think, and he was 48. I had no assets. I had nothing. I had no money. I was barely paying off all my debts from travel. So, and he was going through a situation himself. So we went and got a car loan because we thought, okay, if we go and get a business loan, we'll have to put a business plan together and, spend 6 months, and we've wasted that time. So let's get a car loan for £15,000. And so we did our notice, we had our last days, and then we got a car loan. So we had money in the bank and we were ready to go, literally.
That is so creative.
I know, we hacked the system and didn't have to put together, because you can spend 6 months, and we thought, let's just get going.
Yeah.
And then, so that was literally the transition then was, well, okay, let's try it. I didn't have anything to lose. I didn't have mortgages and kid and all these things that were potential risks. I was 23 and I thought, yep, let's do it. And luckily I had someone who thought the same, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. We've got something here. And he was obviously very experienced in the industry. And we really complemented each other a lot. And I brought the, I guess, new ideas and energy, and he had the conventional experience. So the two of us. So on the Friday we had our last day at work and we got the car loan on the Monday, we were selling by Tuesday. We were out in the market talking to people, and we had business in our first month. We were revenue generating. I don't think we ever went in until the end, obviously, but we didn't ever incur huge setup costs, and we didn't take years to break even.
You just went at it.
We were just ready to go.
That's amazing.
And I think the key to that early success was we were saying something different. We had a different perspective. We were energetic. We believed in what we were saying. And people wanted to work with people, do business with people. I think we forget that. We can do so many things around kind of brochures and product and service, but at the end of the day, people do business with people that they like, and people that they can relate to. We weren't for everyone, and so for some people we were too radical, or we were not the safe route, and that's fine. That's great. But we knew who our clients would be, and we could almost spot them in a crowd.